All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming, and let us stand to open with prayer. Oh, Lord, once again, we come before you to thank you, Lord, for your grace and mercy and blessings of our nation, Lord, our states and our counties. We ask now, Lord, to guide us direction as we go into deliberations and discussions of county business, and we thank you for the privilege. Bless now our citizens, commissioners, employees, and all, Lord, who make the county what it is. We thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on our agenda will be the approval of the minutes from our previous meetings of February 4th. February 5th. And February 13th.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
on page 14 and 15, by the 8th paragraph down, it says Mr. Wynn stated that the consideration of, and then it stops.
Okay. Did you get that one? Listen.
Mr. Chairman, just a misspelling on 1414 in the administrative reports, off the roads, and then there's just a spelling error.
On page 1417. Third paragraph from the bottom, where it says Commissioner Hoffman made a motion to authorize the attorney to notify the landowner that the previously discussed, negotiated, should have been previously discussed land acquisition was no longer feasible, as discussed. Okay, are there any more corrections? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
So moved.
Second.
All right, the motion is second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay. The next item would be our agenda adjustments. And we're going to have quite a few. Under item 5, administrative reports. Under item 4B, we want to add B1 to order tax collector to advertise liens in accordance with the general statute. B2, set opening and closing date for E&R board. And B3, discuss foreclosure from Attorney Ellis. D4, approve refunds. And under 5, on the administrative report, under 5.4D, we want to make a D1. EMS request to have open house. And under old business, we want to add item 1, CDBG contract reaward. Item 2, approved letter of recognition for 100-year-old citizens of the county. Item 3, approve Martin Starnes contract. And under item 8, new business, we'll add an item 10. Authorize tax letter to be sent in response to business request from citizens to repeal tax penalties. And item 11 would be appointment of citizens to sit on the Child Protective Service Board.
Chairman,
Yes.
under 5D3, the foreclosure, is that, I don't know what's behind it, is that need to be closed session, or is that okay for?
This is actually just a report. It's
Okay.
not going to be discussing individuals.
Okay, great.
Okay, those are the agenda changes. Are there any others?
No, sir.
All right, if there are no other changes, we'll call for motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Motion second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Thank you. All right, the next item would be our delegations, citizens' comments. Dr. Stan Lane.
I want to make a little comment about hiring a county manager. When we hired John, that he had a lot of different experience. But we should consider how long he stayed in each place. If he really had that much experience, or was he just a rolling stone? And no longer he stayed here, I've come to the conclusion he's a rolling stone. If we consider hiring a new one, we need to consider that. How, do the state places long? Are they considered? In fact, about the time we hired him, Earl Rancher made a statement about several local people that applied. I have no idea who any of them were. But we have somebody local or surrounding areas that is qualified, I feel like they will stay longer. And we need, be sure one that has really can stay here and has a county welfare at heart.
Okay, thank you, Dan. All right. Our next would be our administrative reports, and the first one would be from our county manager.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you have in your packet the administrative reports for the county. As you know, and as we discussed, I'm working on a transition report for y'all's benefit so that you will know where everything stands and where everything is. So it will facilitate a smooth transition from the interim to the next permanent full-time county manager. That report is a work in progress. It started out with a lot of things. We've been able to tie up a lot of loose ends, continuing to diligently work on those items. Those items range from capital projects to the historic courthouse to some operational things to implementation of the pay and class study. So we're diligently working to make that very concrete, very closely implemented list of things that has either been done or in the process of being done, so that whoever comes in next will have a good working document, as well as all the files in order to be able to transition seamlessly for the benefit of you as a board and for the public also.
Okay. I'm going to have that by night, too.
Yes, sir, I believe so.
All right. Okay, I'm trying to see. I noticed in your report, I did highlight Gate County government has the following projects ongoing, and we talked about the sanitary sewer project and the new performance agreement. The county attorney has completed those agreements, and they're in the hands of the business.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, our board, for your information, I do plan to make contact with them and try to get those moving. All right, the next item on our departmental reports would be finance report from our finance officer.
Mr. Chairman, our finance officer is out today. I'll be happy to take any questions and refer those to her when she's back.
Any comments, board? I do note on the expenditure statements that we have quite a few over budgeted items, especially in the financial services. I see two, you got 131%, 123% for telephone, office equipment, tax department. We have professional services, 278% over budget, 189%. And we have not seen any budget amendments. Also, buildings and grounds, I see 122, and one is 108. So we've got a number of them, emergency services, as well as the extension. And need to address those.
Sir, Mr. Chairman, I believe ordinance 14-8 with the budget amendment will address most of these, if not all of them. And that's item, it was item, Airborne 8.
The tax department item was taken care of the last meeting.
I believe so. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for John. Based on the special projects, just referring to the CDG group, schedule site grant. She we're working diligently on everything in good order with that.
Yes, sir. There is a pending legal issue that we talked about in closed session. Those documents have been generated but not signed. We're still trying to capture a signature. But all that is pending signature.
Certainly understand that word.
Okay. Any more comments, board, on our finance report? Not. Now, you do have, we got a separate section to do those budget amendments. Okay. Our next item would be our tax report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I guess I kind of have my own little agenda this morning. We had, there should have been a packet there at your place this morning concerning the items that we need to discuss. And nothing really to report on the collector's report. We are pretty much in line with the collections as to where we normally are this time of year, unless y'all have any questions concerning that. If not, the next item we have is the delinquent taxes that actually represent liens on real property. And I do have that list here that will be in our office for y'all's review if you would like to review that, or I can email it to you if you would like to
Please do that.
email it. Okay. And what I need from the board today is just an order from the board for us to advertise these tax liens. And I also need some direction as to how you want to advertise them this year. In the past few years, we have actually advertised all delinquent taxes on these particular parcels if there were any back years. We're really required to advertise the current year. So I just need some guidance in what y'all would like to do with that this year.
I think it's nice to see that, that it's the history of it.
Yes,
Who's been affected?
that's right.
We're doing
Better collection.
That's fine.
Is that a big expense to put it in the paper and all that?
The way we've been doing it, using it in the flyer versus listed in the legal section has helped a whole lot with the cost. And as far as the difference in whether we advertise the current year or advertise prior years with it, it's not that much difference. And I just need an order from the board to advertise.
Okay,
this one.
we'll do this one at a time. We're gonna need a motion to order the tax collector to advertise the tax liens for current and prior year of taxes due in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 105-369A.
Make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second. All right, the motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed, nay. Okay.
Thank you. The next item is setting the date for board equalization and review. And actually, the other day during our budget meeting, I had mentioned a couple of dates to y'all, which was to open on Monday, April the 21st, and we normally open that first meeting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And at this point, I really do not see any need in setting up any extra sessions in between the opening and closing. And then to just close it Wednesday, May 7th at 9:30 prior to your regular commissioners meeting, since you'll need to be here that morning anyway.
When you said open Monday, what?
Monday, April 21st at 4 o'clock.
At 4.
At 4, unless y'all would like to, that's what we normally have done, unless you would like to do something different.
And close.
And then Wednesday, May 7th at 9:30, which would be prior to your regular scheduled meeting.
Give me that time for the closing.
It would be at 9:30.
Okay, we're gonna need a motion to set the opening of the our Board of Equalization Review. According to North Carolina General Statute 105-322E, open at on May 21st at 4 p.m. and close on May 7th at 9:30 a.m.
So moved. Second.
Motion second, all in favor, aye. All opposed, nay. Okay, thank you.
The next item, I wanted to give you a report on the foreclosures that we had received back from Attorney Ellis. We received 25 accounts back from him. 18 accounts still remain with him. And what we received back, the ones, and you do have a spreadsheet, those that are not highlighted are ones for just the preliminary title search that had been done. And there was originally $140 attorney fees on those. Well, he added a $20 fee to each of those for pulling the files and turning them back to us. So they went up to $25 each. My suggestion at this point would be to go ahead and pay him for those. And of course, these fees will go back as liens against the parcel, so we will recoup this money back. The others that I have highlighted were significantly different figures than what his assistant had given us. And I want to request detailed invoices from him on these and review those a little bit more before we decide how to move on those. And these at the preliminary title has been done on. What I would like to do is to contact these individuals from our office again to see if we can possibly get them to go ahead and pay this in full versus having to turn it over to Zacchaeus Legal Services for collection, to at least give them the opportunity before we proceed. And also with these that we do turn over to Zacchaeus Legal Services, I will talk with him about a reduced rate since some of the work has already been completed that his office would not have to do.
Have any of these received any correspondence from Ellis?
Yes, they received initial letters at least, and I don't know where it went to mail or if it was received. They received it all. And of course, once these with the larger fees, once we get the detailed invoices, we'll be able to see more of what exactly has been done with those. But the others I know would receive at least a preliminary letter.
And that is after you had contacted
That
them.
was after we did we try to give them, we send a letter and let them know what our next action is going to be and give them X amount of time to contact our office, either pay it in full, set it up on a payment schedule.
Was there an initial percentage that he was to be compensated, or was it like fee?
I know it's a fee. And that's one of the reasons we tried to get away from him and gone to Zacchaeus, because his fees were just outrageous.
Okay, we're going to need a motion to approve the tax administrative request to receive these foreclosures and act on them as discussed, contacting the tax payers, and to give them an opportunity to respond, and then not turn them over to Zacchaeus. Is that right?
Yes.
Quite a long motion, but got to summarize it.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second, and to authorize the tax administrator to proceed as discussed. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay.
That is all I have, and Ms. Harrell does have, I believe it's 3 refunds to go over with y'all this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I believe you'll find those refunds in your packet, and we are asking for your review and consideration on these this morning. You'll actually find 4. 2 of those are for the same taxpayer. The first one you should have is in the amount of $585.62. And as it states in the reason for the refund, the taxpayer paid both the 2012 and 2013 taxes on February 10th. We received funds from the state of North Carolina, under the debt set-off program, from their income tax refund on February 24th. Therefore, everything had been paid at that time. There are no other taxes due for that taxpayer, and we are asking to refund these. We have contacted this taxpayer and regarding a prepayment on the 2014 taxes, and she denied that and would like to get her money back at this point. So we are asking you to consider that this morning.
Are we going to do these one at a time, or?
Well, actually, I guess we could do them all at once, just call each name. We need a motion to approve if it's still in the board. I guess maybe we want to do it one at a time to see what the board is, what the pleasure of the board is. Refund for Joanne Bracy Pierce of $585.62.
I move that we approve that refund, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
That's a motion second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Brian Christopher Clapp, $191.73. Also, he has another one, next page, of $199.01. Both of those previously satisfied.
Was he questioned about putting toward,
He no longer lives in Gates County. He has been in Bear County for a number of years.
how about your
And
property?
this was some previous years, no,
No
sir.
property.
No, sir. He has no taxes due and owns no property here at this time. Yes, sir. And this is the same situation with the debt set-off program. We spent funds on some old bills.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we treat this the same as the first and approve the refund on both accounts, 191.73 and 172.49.
We got a motion?
Second.
172.
This one,
Oh, okay.
is it 49?
There's 2 of them. 172.49.
Part of that refund request is being paid on an old bill. And then the net would be paid to the taxpayer.
I see the amount on here, the amount of refund is $199, and up here it says the taxpayer $172.
Yes, sir. That's
Okay,
because
so
that was the total
that's
refund
what I
That's what I
amount.
was picking.
Okay.
Okay. I amend my motion to be 191.73 and 199.01.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay. We have the last one, Bobby Dwight Armstrong. His was satisfied, paid by DMV, $143.98 refund.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, no. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, as we move forward, we have our personnel report. No discussions. There's nothing in there that wants to bring up. Our departmental report will be next. We have one from, Village and Ground Supervisor Crystal Boone. Billy Wynn. We have one from Getz. County inspection. And our water department.
Chairman, looking back at something I noted earlier, I'd just like to state that Getz in the month of January drove 24,594 miles. And that's right. 2,476 pickups and deliveries.
How many people was this again?
9.
9.
Right on.
And no major accidents?
No accidents.
All right, very good. Very good.
You've had
Good
some
job.
load.
Good job, Patricia.
Okay,
Send that comment to all your drivers.
keep up the good work. Okay, on our county calendar, or articles of interest and correspondence, I don't have anything. County calendar, we do note our night meeting on Board of Commissioners, 7 p.m. on March the 17th. And the budget request conference, what is that going to be?
That is the conferences that we have, if there are changes to the budget requests that are made. They'll be scheduled as individual, but you know, as we get closer.
Has the Board of Education meeting been rescheduled?
We're working on a date. We're trying to shoot for the 17th, since y'all have a meeting already. And that way, it would just be them calling the meeting at that point.
Okay, as we move down the agenda, we don't have any public hearings today. Under old business, we do have an item that we need to revisit. You should have in front of you a package, movement. And at our last meeting, or the meeting prior to that, we approved the contracts for the CDBG scattered site house replacements, and we awarded the contracts for reconstruction and repair of the homes to Godfrey Brothers and Holly, I believe it was. And we gave 2 houses to the Godfrey Brothers. We gave him one that he did not have the lowest bid. I think it was the opinion of the board at that time that it was fairly close, and we would lean to Godfrey because he had done business with the county before. We felt more comfortable with him, and we were not back to give the contract to the lowest bidder if we had some reason for not doing so. But since that time, the lowest bidder made it known that he was able to take on one of the repair jobs, the mobile home if he could have the other two contracts, which he was the lowest bidder on. And if he did not get those, then it would put him in financial straits to try to take on that job. And we talked with our attorney, and there could have been a breach of contract if we drew it back. And we talked to Wooten, and Wooten got in touch with Godfrey Brothers, and what you have in front of you is an agreement from the Godfrey Brothers, and it basically states that, well, I guess I'll read it. It says, Frankie Godfrey, co-owner of the Godfrey Brothers Builders, the city acknowledged that Godfrey Brothers Incorporated has provided Gates County CDB program with the second lowest bid for the reconstruction of property located on 209 U.S. Highway 158, Business Gatesville, North Carolina. I also understand that even though I was not the low bidder, the county of Gates awarded Godfrey Brothers Builders the contract to reconstruct the dwelling at 209 U.S. Highway 158, Business Gatesville, North Carolina. It's my understanding the county is considering withdrawing the contract award to Godfrey Brothers Incorporated to reconstruct the dwelling at 209 U.S. Highway 158, Business Gatesville, North Carolina, and award all current rehabilitation, reconstruction, demolition contracts in the project to the lowest bidder on each case. I, Frankie Godfrey, accept this decision and will not hold Gates County responsible for any breach of contract. Godfrey Brothers Builders Incorporated will honor their submitted bid to reconstruct the named home at Punchbowl Drive in Hopsville. So he has withdrawn any rights to hold the county liable for any action that was previously awarded. It is a recommendation of the grant administrator, Mr. Brendan Nolan, that we would award the two houses. We awarded one house, as you see on your chart. The house, let's see here. We have at 209, the two lowest bids were 62, 395 and 62, 525. So in case number 3, we would need a motion to award case number 3, withdraw case number 3 from Godfrey Brothers and award it to the lowest bidder, T.R. Holly General Contractors. Okay.
Need a motion?
We need a motion on that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we make this change on the CDD contracts with the contractors as stated.
Second. Second.
Motion second that we make the change in the award as stated. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, nay. Okay. Thank you. All right, our second item, we have a letter of recognition. It's my understanding that that this will be done. Melissa, you may want to help me a little bit, or John. This first letter, this night, is going to be done at the nursing home. Is that on the 27th or the 28th?
I'm not sure what date they are presenting it, sir, but we are sending it to them for presentation.
Okay, all right, we'll just try to be there when it's presented. Okay, all right. The first letter is to Ms. Martha Knight, giving us tonight. Happy 100th birthday. The Gates County Board of Physicians are thrilled to know that you're celebrating your 100th birthday on March 27, 2014. You're honored to join your friends and family in congratulating you on this special day. As you reflect upon this century of memories and accomplishments, we hope you're filled with joy and optimism. As you look forward to the year ahead, please accept our best wishes for good health and happiness for an enjoyable celebration of your centennial year. We wish you the very best on this momentous occasion, and it will be signed by all of the commissioners, Chairman, Vice Chairman Jack Owen, Bill Felton, Ken Jernigan, and Linda Hopkins. The second letter is to Ms. Leslie Riddick, and it basically says the same thing. Congratulating her on March 8th. So, we...
Sign that later?
Yeah. We're very glad to see some Century citizens in Canton. All of us would aspire to get there. We'll need a motion to approve the signing of these letters.
Make a motion that we approve these letters.
All right.
Second.
All right, motion second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, are we making any provision for those who have passed the century mark? I see Sherwood out there, he has a mother-in-law.
All right.
Mother-in-law, I thought you were picking on Charlotte.
She lives till May the 10th, she'll be 109.
109. Wow.
Well, I'm glad you brought that to our attention. Please, just if you make a note of it. You said what day?
May the 10th,
May 10th.
Say that again, Sherwood. 109.
she'll be 109 May the 10th.
Wow.
What is the name?
Anna Stiver. I said in jest at one time to several people, I didn't know who's gonna take care of them when we were gone. But now I'm starting to think about it more seriously. Whereas and the age people are dying, 3/4 of them are younger than I am.
How's she doing, Sherwood?
Well, have to do most everything for her, you know.
All right, it's just a great privilege to even reach that milestone.
Amen.
Okay. All right, the next item on our agenda will be our new business. And,
Mr. Chairman,
yeah,
did we skip the departmental report from that's open house?
yes, we did. Yes, we did. And I apologize for that, and we need to go back. Well, it has become to my attention, and I think we have something like this thing. Saw something, I don't know if I can find it right now. But, as you know, we have acquired a prison facility, and that also has become the EOC for our emergency management system. And, there's been quite a bit of work done out there, some modifications, a few additions, some cleanup. We've seen some cleanup on some burning of leaves out there. And so they want to do an open house, and between March the 17th and March 20th. Find it now.
Right, City Operations Center, EOC.
Yes.
I didn't see it in his report. I see where he's mentions it, but I don't see a date.
I think it was on the paper you sent me.
It was after the report was sent in.
Yeah, that's where I saw it. Okay,
So this is going to be a floating dates, go anytime?
It may depend on the state. I think there was a strong desire to invite someone from crime control and public safety to come
Right.
down since they gave us the facility. I'm not sure if they confirmed yet or not, so I think it may depend on their schedule.
I know Senator Jones is not with us anymore, but he was a very strong force in us getting that. So I'd love to see our senator that represents us now, please come or try to Be invited.
Bill Cook. Again, Senator Jones was very instrumental in us getting that going. But yes, we like that. I think that's a good idea. And even, the House Representative wants to be part of it. Yes.
They'll all come because it's an election year.
I don't think it'll be hard. Now, you're not, Billy's not asking to set a date. You want to just make a note of between 3:17 and 3:20?
He was wondering if there was a date that worked best for you guys to be in attendance, and then it would be a floating time frame. So like the 18th from 1 to 4.
Generally,
17th, because we have a meeting that night.
yeah, that's going to be a busy day. I think probably the 19th or 20th.
Friday would be
19th or 20th.
19th, that would be Friday.
That'd be Wednesday.
Awesome.
Wednesday or Thursday. And the time frame would be about 2 p.m.
It has not been set yet. That could be up for discussion, but the thought was that it would be a floating time frame over the course of a few hours for people to drop in and out.
I think the commissioner's preference would probably be the 19th or 20th.
Okay?
And once you get up with the state, then you can send us an email to confirm.
The 20th would be on Thursday.
Yes.
That would be my preferred day.
All right. The Martin Starnes contract. That's where we are now, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think we talked about this at a previous meeting. If not. John, if you would, Mark Starnes has been with the county for the last, how many audits?
At least 5, maybe 6. Last fiscal year, I think there was some discussion by a prior board member that it is a best management practice, and I concur with that assessment, to routinely change auditors. And I just leave you with that thought. It needs to be bid out, and typically that's done in the fall. To go out for like a request for proposals and RFP process. It's just a good best management practice to make sure that you're getting a robust audit. Not that there's any complacency, but there is that risk that you should be aware of as a board.
The letter that Sandy has sent us. This is from Martin Starnes. We had another auditor. That was 3 years ago.
Okay.
Because he went with
We had one,
Meridian.
we had one guy who worked for Martin Starnes, went to work with Meridian.
Meridian.
Yeah, but we've had Martin Starnes since I've been on the board.
No. Okay. Well, we may want to just have a discussion with Sandy as well, and want to take this to the night meeting.
We'll be fine. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I think we ought to look into, looking for someone else as well. It's a good idea.
If we were to start the process of looking for somebody, would you recommend John do contact the LGC for a list, or just do RFP?
LGC is going to have a list. There are only a certain number of auditors that would be interested in the work. I don't know that they'd give you the list, but you could certainly ask for it. but you would need to do an RFP to acquire the service, one way or the other. If you have a list, you could invite those that are on the list by sending them a nice cover letter with the RFP attached, inviting them to express that interest. But there are only a small number of firms in the state that really do local government work. It's a specialty niche market, not everybody is equipped to do it. It's a much more difficult task because of the way the government accounts are structured. It's not like a business accounting person. You just can't hire an accountant to do it. They gotta know the LGC rules, they gotta know the accounting rules, particularly the GASB rules.
The Albemarle Commission, the accounting firm they have, they've been exceptionally pleased with them for the last 2 years. That may be one, Commissioner Harvey may want to find out the name, I did know the name, and invite them maybe to participate in bidding or know that we may be looking for another firm. All right, we need a motion to table the approval of the Martin Storms contract for the upcoming year until our May 17th night meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
John, timeframe for that, audit to begin, what typically what period of time that is?
Audits typically begin in the summer months. You receive your presentation, you received it late this year in the fall, but it really begins in the summer. So starting somewhere around May. That's just a rough time frame. So to bid it out for new services, you would need to start in the fall, so you can be ready to have an auditor on board by the spring to go through that process. So what really has to happen is the books have to be closed. And that's this whole issue of not purchasing a lot of things in the month of June, so you can facilitate closing the books on June 30th. Once the books are closed, they begin their work. And it takes, depending on the complexity of accounting, 30, 45, 60 days to go through all that. typically.
And this contract would be for the closing of our books on June 30, 2014. All right. New business. Item 6 on new business would be the consideration of a contract award of the historic courthouse structural repair. I think what you have before you is a cover letter from Clearscapes that I guess the subcontractor is to Andrus and Company. And this is the wing repair for $93,723.88. John, this was necessary because the current contractors did not have the basic design and guidance that they felt was necessary in order to safely do that repair.
This is a multi-prime operation that's occurring. So the other contractors on the inside were different vendors, carpentry, plumbing, electrical. These folks were invited to bid, as well as the folks that had been working inside the building by Clearscapes. Another firm in Edenton was invited, as well as a third firm. The structural repair is a specialty item. Not a lot of folks are going to want to get in to do a structural repair, since it is a specialty item. But folks in the building that have been working on the inside are fully qualified. They just elected to bid on certain aspects of the pipeline work. So that's where that is. This would be a separate contractor. The relationship between the county and the contractor would be a direct relationship. And then the oversight of the architectural and engineering firm would be a direct relationship. So the engineers work for you all, the contractor works for you all, There's no commingling of interests or anything like that. But they're two separate. One is watching the other, in other words, as a fail-safe.
Now, well, Clearscape is going to be overseeing the job as our architect, our designer.
That's correct.
And obviously, Andrus would be accountable to them, you know, if they brought something up, they would respond to it, and there's some issues, then the county would step in. All right, well, it's, you know, that structural repair is something that's been needed for years, and I think this is the lowest, or about one of that price we can.
This is a sole bid,
Sold it.
and no one else would bid on it.
All right, we have before us this contract for the old courthouse, West Wing. We'll call for motion to accept, approve the contract. Or discussion. Well, all right, we're going to discuss it. Let's go.
Yeah, I just got a statement down on that. Keep in mind that Clearscapes is overseeing this. As we go through with this Anderson company, I would like for us to send some letter or email to Clearscapes saying that if we end up approving this company, that we approve them such a date, and we would like for them to notify us when they come and check on them, what their intentions are about coming to check on them, and possibly even to make us aware in advance in case our building inspector wants to accompany them on their inspections. That way, we'll know we're getting our dollars worth, and they'll be on notice that we're checking.
All right, the Clearscape should give us a heads up that they're going to be coming.
Some kind of time frame.
That's right, in advance, so that we can arrange for that, and that causes them to say, hey, they're checking off the dates on the calendar that we're coming or not coming. It's not part of the motion, but I just want to get that out there. Okay?
All right, we can add that in the correspondence. Clearscape should let them know that we approved the contract. All right, we've got a call for motion on the floor. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Been motion that we enter the contract with Andrus as Clearscape being the oversight architect designer. Second.
I'll second that.
All right, motion second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Anyone notified?
John, that work, this company here will start work prior to these others doing anything? Or
All the multi-prime work inside's done. The next,
Okay.
you got, essentially that work was step one. They will be done and gone. Step two is the structural work. The final piece is to clean and paint the building.
Okay.
And this, in this, on page 2, it says beginning approximately January 6, 2014. Of course, that's not what happened. So that meant that we need to adjust it.
Do we have a discrepancy there?
This is where it says term of contract right here.
Shall begin, estimated time for completion of the contract shall be 4 months, beginning approximately January 6, 2014.
Yeah, we do need to change that.
And understand, this is the west wing that we have propped up, braced up, and hopefully the braces will be gone, and everything ready to go.
It's in phase 2. And just for the sake of the audience, it does, in that contract, it does talk about that there'll be steel beams put in the structure to reinforce it. So it should be worthy for a long time after that.
And since we said that we bought the date up, we're giving them 4 months to complete this, basically. And I think that date needs to be established today. If we're going to approve the contract today, it needs to be for March 5th.
My understanding, Clearscape's met with the company and they're looking at a May timeframe. They were not utilized in January, and they were free in January, but we weren't ready for them in January. But they're looking at a May timeframe at this point to be done for 90 days.
Okay, then we will need to make that, the contract needs to be changed to make it March 5th.
They've probably got other obligations that could change.
All right, I think that's just, I don't know. Yeah. The motion needs to be amended to include the effective date being March 5th.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I amend my motion on this matter to state that we approve Andrus Company as the company to do the work with the beginning and end date of the term of construction to be forthcoming.
We make it by March 5th. It reads that the estimated time for completion of the contract shall be 4 months, beginning approximately.
My concern is they haven't heard from us since January, and then they've taken another job that would keep them from even, they may have to push it back, not only March, they may have to push it back to June, and say, yeah, we can do it the same period of time, but we can't start till June. That's the reason I left that date open.
Is that acceptable to
On my
us?
motion.
Okay. All right. We want this completed before June 30th. This fiscal year budget money.
The way I understand it from Clearscapes is May to start.
May to start,
May to start.
and then 90 days to complete.
90 days, subject to weathering, to complete it. That's the outside date. Complete. So it could roll into another fiscal year.
Well, how about, Commissioner, if your motion is amended, that the completion date will not exceed August 30th. That way, it will be open.
We want the beginning date.
Well, the beginning date to be determined, but completion not to exceed August 30th.
Well, could we not just say the contract shall be for 4 months from the time the project begins?
And then it may be 2 years from now before they can.
Well, certainly this contract's gonna have to punch in those dates before they're gonna approve it. So you'll have that opportunity, that window to talk. I mean, because they're gonna say, yeah, we like what you did, but we need to change that date to September 15th.
All right,
Mr. Chairman.
all right, amended.
And board. Because you're so agreeable, I'm going to amend this motion to say that we accept the Andrus Company as the contractor to work on the west wing with a completion date of no later than August the 30th.
All right. We have an amended motion.
I shall second again.
All right, second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Okay. Thank you. All right. Next item would be consideration of a 5-year capital improvement plan. You have before you the 5-year capital improvement plan that we went over in our budget retreat, and it basically outlined what are some of the major improvements, major expenses that the county expects to encounter within the next 5 years regarding the county infrastructure, or buildings rather, and school system, which includes the sheriff's office, Board of Education, courthouse, corporate extension, so forth and so on. I have looked through the board and I note that some of the items, many of the items will be included in this year's budget, or they are proposed anyway. At this point, I think, we have a table or an outline of what we would need to address within the next 5 years. But I'm not in favor of approving it until we get closer to approving our budget for this current year. I think we need to see where our budget is. And like I said, a number of these items, I see, especially the tax office, we have $150,000 for software upgrade and hardware upgrade. And we have funds in there for the renovation of the emergency management, the operations center, and replacement of transit vehicles and so forth. Many of those items are in this year's budget. I think we need to get closer to the budget approval process before we approve this. And even if we approve it, I think it should be something that would not definitely tie the hands of future boards where they cannot make adjustments, but certainly an outline that we want to utilize. So if we can discuss this, I think at this time we can receive it and consider approval during our budget process.
Mr. Chairman, this is an updated version from, I think, what two things that needed to be added from the retreat, right? I was curious, do we need another Saturday budget retreat with just this one item? I don't think it would take more than 2 hours, but this is a lot to dissect at a board meeting.
Yes, it's quite a bit. I agree. And I think some of it, we really need to have some discussions with the school board. And you take one of the big items is going to be replacement of windows. We've got $175,000 each year to do that. What is?
Well, my concern was when I was looking it over, I saw the windows, but also looking at the minutes from when the board met, at the same time, looking at the board minutes from the Board of Education. And I saw in there where Dr. Williams kept saying, sort of alluding to, do you spend this money right now, or when's the building need to be replaced? So I agree. We probably need some of those parties, if we have a retreat, to meet with us again. Because I see the numbers and like the windows, I think that needs to be done for efficiency. But they're also saying, he told us how old each building was, and I don't want to spend money on windows and then tear the windows down when you tear the building down 3 years later. So that would be my biggest concern.
And I think, until we can have those discussions, even if we approve it as a guide and not as
to be done,
to obligate those funds in the years ahead.
I think we also need to, once we do that, then we can go back and say, okay, this is priority. Even though they're not to be done, it's for future consideration. That maybe we prioritize them now after we've done it, and then look back 2 years later and say, has the priority changed? Has somebody moved? Has one thing moved ahead of another?
Well, the way I looked at this was the vision for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to have a vision for 5 years because there's a whole list of needs and we can't fill every need in 1 year. So you look at Buckland gets windows 1 year, Cooper gets something the next year, and all of that. But, it's not, set in concrete, but we still have to have a vision, and we can go back and look at it every year and reprioritize, you know, the heating system might go up, and that you have to have completely new heating system, that certainly would have to move up. But I do think we need to have a plan, because if we just keep throwing money at this problem, we're never going to have the buildings completely, the problems completely solved. And that's what we have done for so long here in Gates County.
Try to control the problem.
Yeah, and we haven't solved the problem. If this gives us a way to help solve the problems of our schools and of the various departments, trying to bring them up to speed and up to date and solve the problem once and for all. Certainly, there are going to be emergencies that we have not foreseen. And our buildings are aging. But with the cost of buildings, I think some of them are going to have to last a little bit longer. So we need to keep them up and repaired.
So, are you recommending that we approve this as a guide to developing future budgets?
Well, I would agree that we can maybe have discussions with the Board of Education again, but I do think we need a guide so that we can look back and plan our resources to use them wisely. We have limited resources. We need to have a plan in place where we can address concerns and check off some, and then look at them again.
All right. I think the general consensus is that we do need to talk about this a little bit more before we approve it. And then when we do approve it, we would not want it to be cut in stone where we had to allocate those funds, but it would be a guide in developing the budget. So we would call for a motion, if that's the pleasure of the board, to table this until we get closer to our budget approval for this year. And have future discussions with the involved departments of the Board of Education so that we'll certainly consider all aspects of the request before we approve it.
So moved.
Second.
All right, the motion second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. When we get closer to the budget, just one thing we can turn over to the next interim, that's the guide, we can report back on again. Okay, the next item, the consideration of ordinance 14-8, amending the FY14 budget. John, do you want to go over that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, you have before you the quarterly budget amendment ordinance to address some of these budget amendment concerns that we've had some overages and some shifting of funds to cover those overages. I'd be happy to answer any questions you've got. The finance director, as I said, is not here today, but you've got all the supporting documentation, and then you have it all in one form so you can see holistically how it adjusts and change this year's annual budget.
Goes to the first one, is mostly social services there.
SHIP is cooperative extension.
Daycare. United Way. That's a revenue. Okay. All right, we have a board, an amended ordinance 14-8. What is the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve.
All right, the motion to approve the budget amendment ordinance 14-8. Second.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Motion second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The board need a break? Okay. take a 5-minute break. Makes sense.
The audience
Take a
needs a break there.
All right, call that meeting back to order. The next item that we have on our agenda will be our item 10, which is the tax letter response.
Now, we have some more budget things, don't we?
Oh, yeah, some first policy, I'm sorry. Consideration of spring surplus property. Okay, we have a 2008 van, which we get, is that right, Joe?
Yes, sir.
And it has a mileage of 210,000. And the recommendation is to sell it on Gov Deals with a reserve of $4,500. Are there any discussions, thoughts? I did note that that $4,500 was reserved is pretty much in line with what the Kelly Blue Book values that type of van with those mileage on it. So looks like we are trying to get the minimum. And that reserve means we won't take anything less than that.
Yes, sir.
All right, what is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and sell it on Gov Deals. Unless we have something, like someplace else to use it.
What are you talking about? Some motions on the floor.
Okay, I'll leave my motion as is. We can sell it.
Have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Okay. Did we talk about possibly using that for one of our departments?
The van in question is take a step back, GITS is getting 2 vehicles, they're getting back on schedule for the vehicle replacement from the state. There's, I believe, 2 passenger vans up there, one is slated for replacement. It's in better condition than the van which y'all are surplusing today, so we'll rotate that out until that department needs, they don't have to buy anything.
This is probably one of the bigger vans.
I think this is one of the conversion, one of the really tall one. It's not very good on gas.
Right.
Okay, have a motion and a second, or any further discussion? Not? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay. Okay, the next item would be the tax letter. I think you have a copy of it in front of you. This page has that came before the board, I believe it was on February meeting, February 5th. And we're going to read the letter as it stands. Ms. Hedgepath, Mr. Hedgepath, thank you for appearing before the Board of Commissioners at our February 5th, 2014 Commissioners meeting. Share with us your concerns regarding additional taxes and penalties assessed on your business as a result of a discovery audit conducted by the Gates County Tax Department. Commissioners want to make sure that taxes levied on our citizens and businesses are fair and impartial. Therefore, we have looked at North Carolina general statute requirements that impose tax levies upon property owners in North Carolina and the remedies that they provide when an error has occurred. In North Carolina General Statute 105-381, taxpayers' remedies, the commissioners are allowed to make adjustments for taxes imposed as a result of a clerical error, an illegal tax, or a tax levied for an illegal purpose. In reviewing your concern regarding a penalty imposed on discovery taxes assessed on your business versus the county overcharging you taxes in previous years for property that should not have been taxed without paying an interest penalty on the refunded amount seems unfair and possibly a double standard in your opinion. Unfortunately, this type of concern does not fall within the category of remedies. Commissioners are allowed to rectify per NCPS 105-381. However, commissioners are authorized to compromise, settle, or adjust the county's claim for taxes arising from a discovery tax in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 105-312K upon receipt of a timely request for review, which is 15 days from the date of the assessor's notice of their final decision in accordance with Section 10 of that statute. Since your request was not brought before the Board of Commissioners within the 15 days of the required notification period, provisions of NCGS 312K cannot be applied. You paid the discovery tax imposed on your business without paying the penalty, but chose to come before the Commissioners and request release from payment of the penalty. Since the penalty cannot be compromised, settled, or adjusted because your request was not received in a timely manner, the outstanding balance is still due and required to be paid. Thank you for allowing the Commissioners the opportunity to review your concern and respond to the final decision. Orders of the Board of County Commissioners can be appealed to the Property Tax Commission under revisions of NCPS 105-290 respectively. The Board, via the Chairman, Henry L. George. Okay, we have a response to that request. We can open it up for discussion. If not, we need a motion to approve the signing and submitting of the letter.
Mr. Chairman, I know our intent was to turn over every leaf to try to find a way to find a suitable remedy for the taxpayer. And I know some of the comments that I heard from board members were that times are tough on business and every dollar has an impact. Unfortunately, these are general statutes that we would be in violation if we acted any other way than what we're acting. So with that in mind, I make the motion that we sign this letter.
We have a motion. Get a second.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right. The next item was to appoint a citizen to sit on the Child Protective Service Board. This is a board that the Social Services heads up to, and there are a number of participants from various agencies of the county and departments, but we didn't have any citizens sitting on it. We had asked that we get those citizens, make an announcement for citizens to volunteer. That announcement has not gone out yet. I think we're going to announce for board participation and committee participation the next week, John.
Yes, sir. It would be the 17th meeting. You've got multiple boards and commissions with appointments, so it may make sense to advertise all that at once. I think we got 4 or 5.
So this could you also include in the newspaper publication, Child Protective Service Board, and get with Jeff Maverick, some kind of description?
Yes, sir. Jeff and I have already spoken, and they are on that list for advertisement.
Okay. All right, so that item we'll address on the 17th. Okay. Next item would be citizens' comments. We don't have anyone signed up. All right, commissioners' comments. All right. Jack, you want to start off?
I'll start first. Thank you everyone for coming. I want to mention to the audience that anytime we have a senior citizen hitting that Century Mark, we certainly want to know about it. The nursing home gives us that information. But if there's anybody else out there in the community, we certainly want to know about that. And congratulations to those who were on the letter, and to Ms. Spivey. I'm sure we appreciate you sending our thanks to her for being a good citizen. I see Sydney Pierce over there. I see where Sydney registered to run as a House of Representatives from Gates County. And last representation we had was Mr. Phil Godwin. And I hope that we'll all take consideration of that. Home representation is a good thing. So congratulations, Sydney.
Thank you.
And thank everyone for being here.
I'd like to also thank everybody that came today, and hope to see you again. It's always a pleasure to see people come in and sit and listen to see what's going on and say how they feel about things. Thank you.
I echo what all two have said. Thank you for coming. We always look for our citizens for their comments and concerns. I think all of us are open to listen to yours. I did not know, Sid, that you were running, but congratulations. I hope things go well for you. I hope the next time we meet that we'll have a nice spring day. With the sun shining and temperatures 50 or 60 degrees. It has been a tough winter on our citizens and on I'm sure on some of the budgets of some of our departments, trying to keep the roads and everything and the buildings passable. And so we appreciate all the efforts of the people to keep our county running.
I do appreciate everybody coming and voicing your concerns and just showing your interest in the county. And just remember that always have telephones at home, and if you need to talk with us, just contact us.
Mr. Chairman, I did have one.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kitty. Happy birthday to you.
Did we get to how old are you?
Now, we'll let it slide.
Old enough.
Where's the birthday cake, Tim?
Don't have one.
All right. I too thank everyone for coming and being a part of the county commissioners meeting. It does help us to make sure that things that we do, that they're going to address the concerns of the citizens, and the decisions that are made are the best decisions we can make. Spring is around the corner. I think it's March 22nd, somewhere around there, 21st and 2nd. So hopefully we will start seeing those results. I do have one announcement that I wanted to make. The Alamo Rural Planning Organization is working together with the North Carolina Department of Transportation to help Gates County, and I'm sure other counties, to be a part of the road improvements and many of the changes that are going to happen to our roads in Gates County. There will be a meeting on March 11th at 1 p.m. It'll probably be advertised, but you may want to make a note of that at 1 p.m. on March 11th. And the agenda will include Gates County vision for the CTP, which is a Comprehensive Transportation Plan. And Gates County's Comprehensive Transportation Plan goals and objectives will be discussed. So that's something that, we may get some input on when it could be, and many of those things will take place. So just want to make you aware of that.
Location.
It's going to be in the commissioner's room, right here in this room.
What time was that?
1 p.m. This is this meeting process is going to be ongoing. They'll probably have meetings once or twice every other month or every month. They send out a schedule, but it's something that will be ongoing until they will establish some type of plan for how we're going to move forward in many of our secondary as well as our major roads. Okay, thanks again. And if nothing else, we'll make a motion. We'll go into, we need a motion to go into closed session in accordance with Organized General Statute 143, 318, 1183, 4, and 6.
So moved.
Vote second, all in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, nay. All right, we're calling for the motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay. All right, the first item we have to vote on would be to authorize the county attorney to allow a private inspector to review the CDBG project discussed in closed session and present his findings to the county inspector for his consideration. And also, the private inspector cost would be borne by the homeowner.
So moved.
Second.
This motion second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, no. The second item would be to approve the interim county manager contract as discussed and presented in closed session.
I move that we approve that, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The third item would be to approve or authorize the county attorney and chairman to sign a purchase agreement for property as discussed in closed session with 120 days stipulation, pending grant assurances and easement availability and cost, and a due diligence payment, non-refundable, to enter this agreement. I'll make that motion. Have a second. All right. Do not have a second. Are there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, do you want to, you asked for discussion? Do you want to?
No, I think we can discuss it here.
Okay.
The motion dies.
Mr. Chairman, do you know what the rules are for motion down on the floor?
Motion dies, doesn't get a second. And it dies and
The motion can come before us again.
I don't know, it can come forward, the same motion come forward within 30 days.
It was 30 days or 6 months.
I'm not sure.
Does the motion have to come from another board member?
The rules, this motion dies. A defeated motion may not be renewed at the same meeting. Specific consideration motion shall be in the order of the form. That's a defeated motion. You can't bring before the same meeting. I think the 6 months is for reconsideration. Well, actually, we could have voted on it. But that's not the standard procedure of this board, because this board,
Refer to closed session.
the policy of this board is to move forward with the motion second, and that's the policy that we've established over the years. And so that would be, you can, in an informal, when you're not using Robert Rules of Order specifically, you could, if you have one member, let's see, how did it say? One member of the board is closed. What are these two? It's not, okay. This is not applicable to small boards. We don't have to have a second policy, but that is the policy that proceed with as a policy we've established.
That's the policy that can't be brought up at this meeting.
Well, yeah, it can't be brought up at this meeting once we've not gone forward, we move forward with it. Okay. So this item is, did not get support of the board.
Very much, thank you.
It's a defeated, it's basically a defeated motion.
And y'all don't need me for the next 3, do you? Because I think they were non-legal,
Right, and since that didn't go forth, the other things are not applicable as well.
I'd like to see the easement for the earliest.
I'm going to
Research.
make a general inquiry regarding, do some research on that. So that when if we do readdress this issue, we'll be ready, we won't have to wait for me to do that.
That's the way I feel about it also.
Well, you're probably going to need to go to different property owners. I wouldn't feel comfortable going back to the current landowner.
Mr. Chairman, just as a matter of a rule, I'd like to ask a question. And this is for the board, it's not for me. Another member of the board could make a motion with different criteria, and it would have to be considered.
That's right.
I'm looking at more like 6 or 7 stipulations to the initial motion. So if someone on the board wanted to make a separate motion, I'm just for clarification.
If you want to make another motion, yeah.
I mean, I'm asking for the board, not asking for myself. I'm just, in other words, if there were one of those things that somebody felt different about, they could make it clear, it just making that available to us. Okay.
All right. I think the last one, if we could go ahead and do that. If it said to authorize the county attorney and chairman to contact the landowners, discuss in closed session about the easement. All right. What's the pleasure of the board?
Did you make that as a motion?
No, well, that is the motion.
Oh, okay.
I didn't make it as a motion. That is, I didn't call the name, but
Right.
it's the easement. Anyone wants to make that motion?
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we pursue the cost of the easement to the said property that we talked about earlier, to see what that cost would be.
All right, you have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay. All right, the next motion, that was number 4. The next one would be to authorize the county manager to advertise the county manager job and tax administrative job in the various publications discussed in closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, the last one would be to authorize the county manager and the finance director to make the part-time position a full-time position in the customer service department.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, we need a motion to adjourn or recess until our March 17th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.